On a distant planet named Zeta 9, a group of alien explorers known as the Vortons were busy digging through ancient ruins. They had heard tales of a long-lost civilization, and their curiosity led them to this remote place. The Vortons were tall, with green skin and large, bright eyes. They were known for their love of history and discovery, and today they were on a mission to uncover secrets from the past. As the sun rose over the jagged mountains, the Vortons worked tirelessly. They used their advanced tools to carefully remove layers of dirt and rock. Suddenly, one of the explorers, a young Vorton named Lyra, noticed something shining in the dirt. Her heart raced with excitement. She knelt down and brushed away the dirt, revealing a small, metallic object. It was unlike anything they had ever seen before. "Look at this!" Lyra called out to her team. The other Vortons gathered around her, their eyes wide with wonder. They examined the object closely. It was a strange disk, covered in intricate symbols and designs. No one in their group could understand what it meant, but they knew it was important. "This could be a piece of their technology," said Thoran, the leader of the team. His voice was filled with awe. "We need to find out more about these humans." The Vortons continued their excavation, and soon they uncovered more artifacts. There were old tools, strange containers, and pieces of metal that sparkled in the sunlight. Each item told a story of a civilization that once thrived on a planet called Earth. The Vortons were fascinated. They could only imagine what life was like for the humans who had created these things. As they worked, Lyra found a large, round object buried deep in the ground. With the help of her team, she pulled it out. It was a small globe showing the world as it once was. The Vortons gathered around it, tracing the outlines of continents and oceans with their long fingers. "This is Earth," Thoran said, his voice filled with excitement. "We need to explore this planet. There must be more to discover." The group quickly agreed to travel to Earth. They wanted to learn about the humans and their lost civilization. As they prepared their spaceship for the journey, Lyra felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. What would they find on Earth? Were there still humans living there, or was it truly a dead planet? Once their ship was ready, the Vortons climbed aboard. The control room was filled with advanced technology, lights flashing and screens displaying information about their journey. Thoran took the pilot's seat, and with a flick of a switch, the ship began to rise into the sky. As they traveled through the stars, Lyra couldn't help but wonder about the humans. They had disappeared long ago, and the Vortons had only heard stories about their greatness. Would they find any signs of the humans, or were they simply chasing shadows? After what felt like an eternity, the Vortons finally approached Earth. The planet was a beautiful blue and green orb shining brightly in the darkness of space. Lyra stared out the window, her heart racing with anticipation. She could see the vast oceans and green landscapes, and she couldn't wait to learn more about this mysterious world. When they landed, the Vortons stepped out of their ship and onto the soft grass of an ancient forest. The air was fresh and filled with the scent of wildflowers. Everything felt alive. As they explored the area, they found more artifacts scattered around. Pieces of metal, broken tools, and strange shapes that hinted at a once thriving civilization. Suddenly, Lyra spotted something in the distance. It looked like a large structure, half buried in the ground. The Vortons exchanged excited glances and hurried toward it, their hearts pounding with excitement. They were on the brink of discovering the lost treasures of the humans, and they could feel that this was just the beginning of an incredible adventure. With every step they took, they were closer to unraveling the mysteries of Earth and the remarkable beings who had once called it home. After their thrilling discovery in the ancient forest, the Vortons knew they needed to learn more about the humans. Thoran, the leader, gathered the team. "We must find their advanced technology," he said, his voice full of determination. "We have heard of a great fleet that the humans built, hidden beneath the waves of Earth's oceans." Lyra's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Do you think we can find it?" she asked. The rest of the team nodded, eager to explore this new mystery. They returned to their spaceship, ready to set course for the ocean. Thoran programmed the ship's controls, and within moments, they were soaring through the sky. The beautiful blue planet soon came into view. The Vortons could see the vast oceans and knew they were getting closer to the secrets they sought. As they approached the coastline, they spotted an area where the water was particularly dark and deep. "This must be it," Thoran said, pointing to the location on their screen. Let's dive down and see what we can find. The Vortons carefully landed their ship on the surface of the water. They suited up in special diving gear, designed to help them breathe underwater and withstand the pressure. With hearts racing, they descended into the deep blue, the sunlight fading above them. As they sank deeper, a world of wonder opened up around them. Colorful fish darted in and out of coral reefs, and strange plants swayed gently in the currents. But the Vortons were focused on their mission. They used their underwater scanners to search for the hidden fleet. Suddenly, Lyra's scanner beeped loudly. "Over here!" she shouted, pointing to a large shape resting on the ocean floor. The team swam toward it, their hearts pounding with anticipation. As they got closer, they realized it was a massive ship covered in barnacles and coral. It looked like it had been there for centuries. "This must be one of their warships," Thorin exclaimed. The Vortons circled the ship, examining its size and structure. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. The ship was enormous, with sharp angles and strange symbols engraved on its hull. "Let's go inside," Lyra suggested, feeling a surge of excitement. The team agreed, and together they swam to an opening in the ship's side. The darkness inside was eerie, but they activated their lights and carefully entered. Inside, the air was stale, and the walls were covered in seaweed and debris. The Vortons moved cautiously, taking in their surroundings. Old control panels, broken and rusted, lined the walls. "This is incredible," Lyra whispered, her voice echoing in the silence. As they explored deeper, they found a large room filled with strange machines and weapons. One machine stood out, a shiny metallic device that looked like a console. The Vortons gathered around it, intrigued. Thorin pressed a button, and the machine whirred to life, illuminating the room with bright lights. Suddenly, the screens flickered on, displaying images of battles and ships sailing through the stars. The Vortons were captivated. They watched as the humans fought against alien invaders, showcasing their bravery and skill. They were powerful, Lyra said, amazed by the humans' determination. But just as they were about to learn more, the ship began to tremble. "What's happening?" Thorin shouted. The walls shook and pieces of debris fell from the ceiling. The Vortons quickly realized they had activated a distress signal. "We need to get out of here!" Lyra cried. The team swam back toward the opening, but the tremors grew stronger. Just as they reached the exit, the ship groaned and began to collapse. They swam with all their might, fighting against the swirling water and the falling debris. Finally, they burst through the opening and into the open ocean. Gasping for air, the Vortons resurfaced and quickly swam back to their spaceship. They climbed aboard, hearts racing from the near escape. Thorin quickly punched in the coordinates to return to the surface. As the ship rose from the depths, they looked back at the massive warship, now half buried and dark beneath the waves. "We learned so much," Thorin said, catching his breath. "But we have to be careful. The secrets of the humans are powerful, and they must be treated with respect." As they soared back into the sky, Lyra couldn't shake the feeling that their adventure was only just beginning. The mysteries of Earth still awaited them, and the lost treasures of humanity were calling out to be discovered. After their thrilling escape from the sunken warship, the Vortons gathered in their spaceship to discuss their next move. Lyra was still buzzing with excitement from what they had seen. "We found a piece of their history. Imagine what else is down there," she exclaimed. Thorin nodded, his expression serious. "We have to be careful. The humans created powerful technology, and we don't know what other surprises await us beneath the waves." The team agreed to go back and explore further, but this time they needed to be prepared. They checked their diving gear, ensuring everything was in working order. They also modified their scanners to detect any signs of danger. After a few hours of preparation, they were ready to dive again. "Let's return to the ship we found," Thorin instructed. "We'll go deeper this time. There might be more technology hidden in the wreckage." As they approached the same spot in the ocean, Lyra felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. They lowered their ship into the water once more and suited up. The ocean was dark and mysterious, but they had to uncover the secrets lying below. With their lights shining brightly, the Vortons descended into the depths. The water was cold and the currents were strong, but they pressed on. Soon they arrived at the sunken warship, its shadow looming over them like a ghost from the past. "Let's enter through the back this time," Thorin suggested. The group swam to the rear of the ship and found another opening, this one smaller and covered in seaweed. They squeezed through, their hearts racing with anticipation.
Inside, the atmosphere was tense.
The team moved cautiously through the darkened halls, their lights flickering over the walls. Lyra scanned the area with her device, searching for any signs of technology. The ship felt eerie and abandoned, but they knew they had to keep going. As they explored, they stumbled upon a large chamber filled with strange devices. One machine looked like a control panel, covered in buttons and screens. "This is amazing!" Lyra shouted, her eyes wide with wonder. She approached the panel, brushing away the algae. Thoran joined her, examining the controls. "We might be able to activate some of these systems," he said. "But we need to be careful. We don't know what they might do." Just as they were about to press a button, a loud noise echoed through the ship. The walls trembled and the lights flickered. "What was that?" one of the Vortans asked, panic rising in their voices. Before anyone could answer, a door slammed shut behind them. The Vortans turned around, their hearts pounding. "We're trapped!" Lyra cried. They were stuck in the chamber with no way to escape. Thoran quickly assessed the situation. "We need to find another way out. Stay calm." He scanned the room for any potential exits. Suddenly, they heard another noise, this one much louder and closer. A shadow moved in the corner of the chamber, sending chills down their spines. "What is that?" Lyra whispered, her voice trembling. The group shined their lights in the direction of the shadow. To their horror, they saw a massive robotic creature, half buried in the debris. Its eyes glowed red as it activated, recognizing the presence of intruders. "It's one of their defense robots!" Thoran shouted. "We have to get out of here now!" The robot began to move, its metal limbs clanking as it advanced toward them. With adrenaline pumping, the Vortans scrambled to find an exit. Lyra spotted a narrow passageway at the side of the room. "Over here!" she yelled, leading the way. The team squeezed through the opening just as the robot fired a blast of energy, narrowly missing them. They dashed down the passage, the robot hot on their trail. The narrow hallways twisted and turned, and the Vortans had to maneuver quickly to avoid getting trapped. Their hearts raced as they heard the robot's heavy footsteps echoing behind them. Finally, they reached a larger chamber with an emergency exit. "There!" Thoran shouted, pointing to a door that looked like it might lead them to safety. They pushed through, bursting into the open water just outside the ship. The Vortons surfaced, gasping for air, their hearts racing from the close call. They quickly climbed aboard their ship, shaking with excitement and fear. "Did you see that thing?" Lyra said, her eyes wide. "It was incredible." Thoran took a deep breath, still recovering from the rush. "We've learned that the humans were not just powerful, but also prepared for anything. We need to approach their technology with respect and caution." As they flew back to the surface, Lyra couldn't help but feel that this adventure was just the beginning. The ocean held many more secrets, and the Vortans were determined to uncover them, no matter the danger. The Vortans regrouped in their spaceship after their narrow escape from the robotic Guardian. Lyra and her team were still buzzing with adrenaline, but the reality of their situation weighed heavily on them. Thoran turned to the group, his face serious. "We need to rethink our strategy. The humans had powerful defenses, and we can't take any chances." Lyra nodded, her mind racing with thoughts. "But we can't leave now. There's so much more to discover. We have to find a way to explore safely." The other Vortans murmured in agreement, their curiosity stronger than their fear. "All right," Thoran said. "We'll go back one more time. But this time, we'll be ready. Let's modify our equipment to defend ourselves against any threats." The team quickly got to work, upgrading their diving gear with shields and setting up energy barriers in their ship. Once they felt prepared, they descended into the ocean again, their hearts pounding with a mix of excitement and apprehension. As they approached the sunken warship, Lyra could feel the tension in the air. They had come too far to turn back now. The team swam back into the ship through the same narrow opening they had escaped from. This time, they moved cautiously and stayed alert for any signs of danger. As they navigated through the dimly lit halls, they could hear the sound of water rushing through broken walls. "Keep your eyes open," Thoran warned. The robot could still be nearby. The Vortans pressed on, using their scanners to detect any movement. They reached the large chamber they had explored before, but it felt different this time. An unsettling silence filled the air. Lyra felt a chill run down her spine as she remembered the fear of being trapped. "What if the robot is waiting for us?" she whispered. Thoran nodded, his expression tense. "We'll have to be quick. Let's check the control panel again. If we can understand how the systems work, We might find a way to disable the defenses. As they approached the panel, the lights suddenly flickered on, illuminating the chamber. The Vortons froze in shock. The robotic guardian stood in the doorway, its red eyes glowing fiercely. It had been waiting for them. "Get ready!" Thorin shouted as the robot charged at them, its massive metal arms swinging. The Vortons activated their shields just in time, the impact sending them staggering backward. Lyra quickly assessed the situation. "We need to find a way to distract it," she yelled. She grabbed a small device from her belt, a flare designed to emit bright lights and loud sounds. "I'll create a diversion." With a determined look, she activated the flare and threw it into the corner of the room. It exploded in a flash of light and sound, temporarily blinding the robot. Taking advantage of the distraction, the Vortons dashed toward the exit. "Follow me!" Thorin shouted, leading the way through the narrow passage. They could hear the robot regaining its senses, its heavy footsteps thundering behind them. The team swam faster, their hearts racing as they felt the water stirring with the machine's pursuit. Lyra glanced back and saw the robot emerging from the light, its focus set on them. "It's coming!" she cried out. They reached a fork in the passage and had to make a quick decision. "Left or right?" she shouted. "Right," Thorin yelled, pointing down the tunnel. They veered to the right, their minds racing with fear and adrenaline. As they swam through the narrow passage, they could feel the water vibrating with the robot's pursuit. They pushed themselves to go faster, determined to escape. Finally, they burst into a large chamber filled with machinery and strange lights. "We need to barricade the door," Thorin shouted. They quickly grabbed debris and piled it against the entrance, hoping it would slow down the robot. Just as they finished, they heard the loud crash of metal against metal. The robot was forcing its way through, and the Vortons knew they didn't have much time. "Lyra, can you use the control panel to override the robot's systems?" Thorin asked, his voice urgent. "I'll try," she said, rushing to the panel. Her fingers flew over the buttons as she tried to remember the patterns they had seen earlier. She could hear the robot smashing through the debris, its footsteps growing louder. "Come on, come on!" she urged, panic creeping into her voice. With a final press of a button, the panel lit up, and the screens flashed with information. She quickly activated the emergency override. "Now!" Thorin shouted, and the Vortons braced themselves as the room filled with light. Suddenly, the robot froze mid-stride, its glowing eyes flickering before turning off completely. The Vortons let out a collective sigh of relief. "We did it!" Lyra exclaimed, her heart still racing. They had survived the encounter, but they knew they had to be careful. The ocean was full of dangers, and the secrets of the humans were not to be taken lightly. As they caught their breath, Thorin looked around at his team, pride swelling in his chest. "We've come this far. Let's keep exploring. There are still mysteries to uncover, and we can't let fear hold us back." With renewed determination, the Vortons prepared to delve deeper into the ship, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in their quest for knowledge. The Vortons stood in the dimly lit chamber, still catching their breath after their harrowing escape from the robotic guardian. They looked around, the remnants of the ancient warship surrounding them, and a newfound respect began to settle in their hearts. The mysteries of humanity were deeper than they had imagined, and so were the dangers. "Let's take a moment to gather our thoughts," Thorin suggested, his voice steady. "We have survived not just by luck, but by working together and using our wits. The humans created this technology for a reason, and we need to understand it better." Lyra nodded, feeling a sense of responsibility. "We've seen their power, but we've also seen their creativity. They built this ship, and they were ready to defend it. That says a lot about them." The other Vortons murmured in agreement, recognizing the bravery and intelligence of the long-lost human race. As they explored the chamber further, they found more pieces of technology, some still glowing with energy. "Look at this," Lyra called, pointing to a console that seemed to be intact. "We might be able to get some information from it."
Thorin and the others gathered around as she approached the control panel.
"Let's see what secrets it holds," he encouraged. Lyra carefully activated the console, her fingers trembling with excitement. The screens flickered to life, displaying data about the ship, its missions, and even battle logs from centuries ago. "Wow, look at this!" Lyra exclaimed, reading the text aloud. "They fought against many enemies, defending their home and their people. They didn't give up, even when the odds were against them. The Vortons listened intently, realizing that these humans were not just creators of advanced technology, but also fierce protectors of their world. Each entry tells a story, Thorin said, reflecting on the courage displayed by the humans. We need to honor their memory and learn from their past. This technology should not just be used for power, but for understanding and respect. As they continued to sift through the information, they discovered records of human values, compassion, teamwork, and a strong sense of community. They truly believed in fighting for one another, Lyra said, her voice softening. Their battles were not just for survival, they fought for what they loved. Just then, a loud noise echoed through the ship, interrupting their moment of reflection. The walls shook and the lights flickered. "What is happening?" one of the Vortans asked, alarmed. "Stay calm," Thorin commanded. "We need to find out what triggered this." The team quickly moved toward the source of the noise, navigating through the ship's twisting corridors. As they reached a large door, they saw that it was slightly ajar, with water seeping through the cracks. "It looks like the ship is starting to flood," Lyra said, urgency in her voice. "Let's secure this area and find a way to close the breach," Thorin said, quickly assessing the situation. The Vortans sprang into action, using their equipment to seal the door and stop the water from pouring in. Once they managed to close the breach, they took a moment to catch their breath again. "We need to get out of here," Thorin said, glancing at the consoles filled with data. "But we can't leave empty-handed. We have to take what we've learned and preserve it." Lyra nodded, her heart set on ensuring the knowledge of the humans would not be lost. "We can copy the data onto our devices. This history needs to be shared with our people," she said, determination in her eyes. They quickly worked together, transferring the information onto their scanners. Each moment felt precious, as if they were capturing a piece of a long-lost world. The Vortans had entered this place seeking treasure, but what they found was so much more, a lesson in respect for those who had come before them. Finally, with their scanners full of data, the Vortans made their way back to their ship. As they ascended to the surface, they reflected on their journey. They had faced danger and discovered the remarkable strength of humanity. Thorin looked at his team, pride shining in his eyes. "We came to learn about the humans, but we've learned about ourselves, too. We must carry this respect forward and share it with our people. This journey is not just about technology, but about understanding the value of life and the courage it takes to protect it." As their spaceship soared through the water and broke the surface, the sunlight poured in, illuminating their path ahead. The Vortons emerged from the depths, forever changed by the experiences they had shared. They now had a deeper appreciation for the world they had explored, and they were ready to honor the legacy of the humans who had once ruled the stars.